I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about my ex said there's no chance of us getting back together. Now, that doesn't come up often, but it does come up. And I'm going to be talking about that today because if you have had your ex tell you that there's no chance that you're getting back together or that you can repair things, first of all, it's completely devastating because it feels really hopeless. But also, you have to understand that human beings are emotional. And sometimes when we're upset or we're stressed or we're feeling pressured, we can lash out and say things that we may mean in that moment, but it doesn't mean we're always going to feel like that. So I see exes say things like, we're never going to get back together, and it does happen. Now, we're not telling you to completely ignore the reality of what they're telling you, but what we're saying is, and by us, I mean me and Margaret over the years and Victoria, is that if you really work on yourself and leave your ex alone, things can change over time. Okay, and they often do. As a matter of fact, I had one video that I did years ago called 0% Hope, that the woman was absolutely convinced she would never have another chance with her ex. We did coachings, and sure enough, she did get back with her ex. But she didn't do the work, and she wound up losing him again. And I don't remember the follow-up video I did on that, but I remember 0% Hope is the one where she was absolutely convinced it was never happening. And so what I'm telling you is, if you believe that you have 0% hope, well, many people have believed that over the years, and things can turn around. Okay? So I've got a really good email coaching today, and you guys are going to really see what I'm talking about, how things can slowly change right before your eyes or behind the scenes. Sometimes it's not even before your eyes, right? Now, most exes won't tell you there's no hope, 0% chance, or anything like that at the time of the breakup. That's really rare. I can't imagine a scenario where it would come up naturally when somebody's trying to end that relationship. What happens usually is that when you're feeling that disconnect and you're feeling that anxiety, the overwhelming amount of anxiety, your focus is reconnecting with them, getting answers, wanting to force some kind of conversation or connection to get answers. But when you're pushing your ex in that moment, when their interest level's low, it's only going to make them more likely to push you away. So what happens oftentimes is you're continually reaching out to your ex, doing the things that really turn them off, stalking them, asking friends and family about them, sending handwritten letters, all kinds of stuff like that, and it's pushing them. And what happens is when you're pushing them, they start to get colder and colder because you're not taking the hint, you're not leaving them alone, and at this point you just feel pressured like a salesman that won't stop harassing you. You know that feeling, right? So my point is that a lot of times if an ex is saying that, it's because the dumpee has repeatedly put pressure on the dumper for answers, to get in front of them, for another chance, begging, pleading, all those things. And so your ex often gets more and more frustrated. They lose their patience. Being nice to you or being kind to you about it wasn't working. And so now they're getting really almost aggressive, and they will say something like, you know what? No, we're not going to have another chance. You're never going to have another chance, because they can't take it anymore. They don't know how to set a boundary with you in a way that is leaving them feeling okay, because they're probably stressed and overwhelmed about the breakup too. And so just understand that chances are, if you heard that from your ex and you really look at your behavior ahead of it, you were probably pushing them. Now, I've got a good email coaching today, so stay tuned, because this one's got a lot of good information that is correlated with what I'm talking about here, okay? They said, "Hi, Coach Craig. My name is Eric. Thank you for being our Jedi Master of relationships, LOL." Well, I always considered Margaret my Jedi Master of relationships and for mental health, because her understanding of mental health was unlike any clinician I've ever seen in my life. And it was just incredible how much she knew, and I was so glad we could have her on the channel. So I'm glad that I've been able to take everything that she's taught me over the years and all the conversations we've had, and I have a lot of those conversations between her and I that I go back and listen to on certain topics, because I'm always seeing little nuggets in the things that we talked about. But yes, it's nice to be called the Jedi Master from you guys as well. I'm a huge fan of your work. I came across your channel years ago when you first started. I did an email coaching with you, and it helped me get my ex back. Me and that ex were okay for several years, but eventually drifted apart. I felt okay with it at the time, and honestly, probably didn't handle it as healthy as I should have. Well, that happens sometimes. We keep trying to tell you guys, do the work. If you don't do the work now, it's going to come back and cost you. So do those workbooks 30 minutes a day. Do the creative healing course 30 minutes a day. Review your answers. Trust me, it makes a huge difference beyond what we can do in just the videos. The reason I say that is because I found a new girl at my work a few months later, and we have been together since. Okay, so he kind of rebounded there. Instead of really staying single for a bit and learning about what happened in that other relationship, he jumped to someone new. My girlfriend, Melissa, is a very ambitious woman who is tirelessly committed to success and starting her small business. I work as a manager in my field, and I think I became too complacent. Not just in my line of work, but also in my relationship with her. Things were okay, but stale. Now that is something that I see come up often, is just kind of becoming complacent with life and letting things get stale. You should always be trying to treat your partner like, it's new and exciting, where you're doing fun, new things together, getting to know each other better, exploring life more. If you just get too complacent like he did, a lot of times people will lose that attraction for you that he may have had when they first started dating. Maybe he was just getting that management position. He was excited about it. But she's still really excited about what she's doing. She's got that passion and that ambition. And quite honestly, it's very attractive. The problem is, she spent a lot of time focused on her business. I didn't mind trying to help her with it, but often felt bored, like we were spending too much time on it. Well, I could see your point there, but if she's working hard on her business, trying to get it up and running, and she's excited about it, she's excited and she's trying to share with you. And if you're getting bored by that, then it might cause a bit of a disconnect, because she's trying to share her passion with you. I think I was just a little complacent with my life, as I didn't see any career opportunities opening up anytime soon. I put on a little weight and lost my passion and drive. I fell into bad habits on the weekends and often wanted to stay up drinking and then sleeping in. Okay, well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that occasionally, but if you're making it a lifestyle while you have this partner who's excited for life and her business and growing it, and you're kind of looking like you don't care about those things and you're just complacent, she might start to feel unattracted with that. Meanwhile, she was up early doing work. I think my lack of ambition really hurt our connection and her attraction to me. Yep, exactly what I was thinking would happen there, because I've seen this before. Craig, we broke up 5 months ago when I had stayed up late drinking. I had forgotten to set an alarm. We had planned to go out to brunch with her sister. She FaceTimed me, and I didn't think anything of it. She was so angry at me as she was expecting me to arrive. You could see why she'd be upset. You have a brunch with her sister, maybe some other people, her family or whatever, or her boyfriend or whatever, and next thing you know, you're sleeping in because you've been out drinking all night and with a hangover. That's really unattractive for somebody ambitious. She was barely texting me that following week, but I just thought she wanted to cool off and have some stuff going on with her business. I started to get really anxious as I could feel she was pushing away. We can feel that, can't we? We can sense on some level when the connection is not as intense, when something's wrong, even if they don't tell us. We can feel that, right? I think we're wired to connect that way. I tried making plans to see her, but she kept giving me excuses that seemed reasonable. But my gut knew it was something more. Then I got the dreaded "we need to talk." She came over and said it wasn't working, that she cared about me but wasn't feeling attracted to me anymore, that we were too different, we were incompatible. Of course, I made every mistake possible. I begged her, I kept reaching out for weeks, I told her I would change, I even went to her business one day and brought flowers. She got more and more cold. Well, you can see his behavior is kind of relentless here. And as he kept pushing more and more, especially probably showing up at her work, it probably made her get really frustrated and angry. I kept asking her if we could have another chance. At first, she seemed like she was still considering it. But when I got her on the phone, I started grilling her about any possibility and asked who she was seeing. I could see why she'd be upset. She's trying to tell you I'm upset about you, essentially, and the compatibility here, and you're thinking that I'm out with somebody else. She finally said, "Stop it. I have to leave her alone." She was going to move on, and there was no chance we would be getting back together. Okay, so you look at the situation. When did she say it to him? She told him after he was pushing. Why did she say it? She said it because he was pushing. She didn't tell him at the time of the breakup. She told him after he was repeatedly pushing her almost harassing her, and maybe trying to guilt or manipulate. You know, obviously he did the flowers and showing up at work and stuff like that. But that's why he was getting her to that point. It sounds like initially she was still considering things. It wasn't until that I realized I had pushed things too far. The worst part was I had forgotten about everything you teach, Craig. I was so anxious. And looking back, I didn't do the work after my last breakup. I just went to her right away. I knew I had an anxious attachment style, but I didn't do anything to fix it. I didn't work on my issues with depression, and I lost my drive and ambition as a man. I've been in no contact a few months now. I have seen that she is checking my stories more often, and she hasn't taken any of our pictures down off of social media. She even posted a few memes that I know are directed towards me. It's entirely possible that they are, but don't know with certainty, okay? She told a mutual friend of ours that she had gone on a few dates and has a few guys interested, but is confused. You see that? You left her alone, and now she's starting to feel confused. She wasn't so confused before, right? When you're harassing her, doing all those things, but now you've left her alone, given her some space, and now she's confused. She asked our friend how I'm doing and if she knows what I'm up to. Look at that. She's getting curious. My friend said she doesn't want to get in the middle and suggested to reach out to me when she's ready. All right, that's good. Hopefully she will. She said to our friend I was so mean to him and he probably hates me. So now she's getting anxious. Look at that. You see how the tables are turning. My friend said she knows I don't hate her and just to think about the pros and the cons of the relationship. A few weeks ago, I thought I saw her drive past my house. I didn't think much of it, but I'm almost positive she did about a week ago. I never thought she would do something like that, but it makes me wonder. Well, it makes me wonder too, because she was really adamant. She's never going to change her mind. But as you've left her alone and gone in no contact, she's starting to rethink things, and she seemingly has more doubts about following through with it. And she doesn't seem very interested in these other guys either. I don't blame her for losing attraction. I know she isn't perfect, but I could have been a better partner. I was anxious and was impatient. I didn't stay focused on myself as a man and took her for granted. I learned my lesson this time. I'm doing the creative healing course every day. I'm learning a lot, and I'm committed to finishing it and the workbooks. I feel like no contact is working. I know I made things worse. What do you think about my situation? Do you really think I have no chance? Well, I definitely think her interest is starting to go up. We're seeing her behaviors escalate over time. You've been in no contact, you've left her alone, and it seems like she's really thinking about you. She's talking to you about a mutual friend, asking what you're doing, making it clear that she's not so sure about these other guys. So I do think that no contact is working here, and I do think she's reconsidering things. Now, you've really had a wake-up call. You're staying committed to the workbooks and the course. That's good. She's going to be able to sense those changes when she wants to see you, because I expect her to do an indirect direct. Now, it may need a little bit more time here because she was really adamant and frustrated and stressed about the relationship for a while. She lost attraction over time. It was your behavior, the lethargic, kind of lazy behavior where you weren't really making life and fun and your relationship a priority. But now that you're learning the skills and the course and the workbooks and you're working on your anxious attachment style, you're going to be a lot more likely to re-attract her. So even though she was telling you she doesn't think you guys are going to get back together and that you have no chance, remember she was really upset when she said that, I think she will reach out at some point. Don't try and be Mr. Salesman of, I've changed. Everybody wants to make that mistake. I've changed. I'm so different now. No, you don't want to do that. You want to show her with your actions. Let her see it for herself and process it for herself. And over time, she will naturally feel that attraction and spark for you again. But stop trying to let your anxiety control the situation here and just focus on having a great time and hanging out with her, having a blast when you see her again, okay? I do think you're going to hear from her. I wouldn't be surprised if it took a couple more months, but that's normal in a situation like this, especially after how heated everything got, right? It takes time to calm down and cool off when things get so, to the point where somebody's getting aggressive and really lashing out like that. So, that's what I think what's going on here right now. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Of course, you can get the Creative Healing course and the workbooks there. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.